Hi, so this is Aussie Rick, and I'm here back again doing another video about David Pakman. This time it's his blatant bias against Donald Trump, which quite frankly he should be embarrassed about. I don't think Trump's got anything to be embarrassed about the performance he did in the election debate the other day. But let's go into that in a bit more detail. For any of you who don't know who this guy is, it's David Pakman from his David Pakman show. And you can pretty much see by just his recent uploads how much of a thing he has hard on he's got there for Trump. Just everything is one after another. Things attacking Trump, making Trump out to look crazy. But when he talks about Hillary, he sort of gives her a wide berth. This one we're talking about is David Pakman recently posted a video called "After Losing the Debate Badly, Trump's damage control is embarrassing." Well, I don't think so, but let's let David do a bit of the talking and we'll do a bit of commentary as we go along.
I want to talk a little bit about the sort of damage control that we've seen from Donald Trump after this first debate on Monday. Some people emailed me after my analysis yesterday saying, well, David, specifically why did Donald Trump, quote, lose the debate? Lost or won can be a little difficult to define. I mean, really, what's going to determine that is the impact on the polls, and we're not going to have post-debate polling until probably Friday, maybe not until next Monday.
Well, that certainly hasn't stopped, pardon me, certainly hasn't stopped David from jumping in with his decision, because apparently everybody's declaring that Trump lost, regardless of the polls. And David's here he's doing one of the things he does a lot, which is claim that wow, it's because of all of the watchers of his show. Now, David's been doing this for many years. He's posted well over 13,000, you got that right, 13,000 videos, and yet he's only got 250 odd thousand viewers. Most of his videos just get a few hundred to a few thousand hits. The ones on Trump seem to be a little more popular, and I'm going to suggest it's also because it's people like me who are going to be watching it to just see what this guy, how biased this guy can actually be against Trump. He's going to claim that he's just talking about what the public feel, and he pretends like he's sort of completely unbiased, but he's not. And that's what I don't like about him. I got to tell you right now, I support Trump only when I say support. I don't vote for him. I'm never going to, but I just believe that this guy is going to blow a load of fresh air into the stuffy, scripted, controlled politics that we're seeing all across the world right now. I think it's a good thing. I think Hillary's just one of the establishment, paid for, bought up, paid for in full, and is just going to do whatever the polls tell her to. She's so scripted, it makes me wince. Whereas Trump is, much more, I think, balanced, despite the fact that he does have these crazy outbursts every now and again, which, means he's just speaking his mind, and he's not scripted. I think that's actually a good thing. People do this in person all the time, and I'd rather have someone be real than some scripted person who's following a particular party line, or being basically doing what they're told to. That, to me, that's not a genuine person. I'm just going to sort of put it to you this way. One, this guy pretends that he's doing something, for the public good, but let's just take a look. He's pretty slick, by the way. He's got a fairly slick show. He talks about, welcome to wherever he is with his studio. I've already said this once before. I'll say it a few more times. I think this guy is a wannabe journalist. He just doesn't have, the interest from any of the major media outlets, so has decided he's going to do it himself. But he can't even get his stuff right. He can get all of the graphics behind him, and he's got his own Dipper logo happening there. He can dress the part. He does the handy movements. You'll hear me talk about that in other videos, and I'm going to make a video especially about that later, because a couple of people really told me that they'd never seen that before, and it's so much fun now to watch people on TV who are scripted and who are trained professionals who do the handy what's called the physical reinforcement of a verbal message. But let's just take a look at his picture of Trump there. you'd think Trump was at the debate, and first of all I thought, hey, there's something wrong with this picture. One is he's got two mics instead of one small one, and two, he's wearing a red tie, not a blue tie, and a completely different suit. So this isn't even, then we can look at the sign and see he's in Waterville Valley. He's not actually at the debate, which means that I don't know why David's doing this. That's pretty sloppy, mate, considering you've got a pro studio going on. And he'll also talk in a minute about how crazy it is that Trump talked about his microphone not working. Sorry for David, but that's already been confirmed. His microphone was not working. So you can cast aspersions all you like, but as usual, this guy's just a blowhard with not a lot of substance behind what he says. But let's let him get back on with it.
So what I think we can really focus in on are what are the ways in which Donald Trump did not do as well as Hillary Clinton. Obviously, Trump's knowledge of issues is far, far, far behind Hillary Clinton's. But my big reaction is, who expected anything else, right? Who expected to watch this debate and say, you know, I was just stunned by how much Donald Trump knew. We know that he doesn't know anything. So he completely bungled several areas. The question on the birth certificate stuff was an absolute disaster for Donald Trump.
All right, I just got to stop him then. He's telling us what we all know, supposedly. And if we all know it, why does he have to say it? The thing I think everybody was shocked about this debate was that everybody expected one of two things to happen. Donald to say something completely stupid, which I didn't hear him do, and two, for Clinton to do one of her bobble-headed things and maybe get taken out in a gurney. I think that's what everyone was waiting for. We thought it would get a lot more fiery than it did. I think that's why what everyone was disappointed about or a bit shocked about, that neither of these two candidates really went off the deep end, one way or another. I personally think it was a draw. I think Trump, pardon me, had a few moments where he floundered a little bit. I don't think the birther one issue was won at all. I think he struck back at Hillary, pointed out that it was her camp that brought up this thing in the first place, created a huge big drama about it. Trump maybe naively took it up, but did exactly what he sort of kept promoting. He got the birth certificate, where Hillary's a hit and run. She got Blumenthal, one of her big main campaign spin people, or whatever you call it, campaign, someone associated with a campaign, to go and start spreading this rumor, and then they run away as soon as the heat gets on a little bit, while they can turn around. And these are probably things like disinformation setups. I don't think he bungled that at all. I don't think it was embarrassing for him. I think he handled it very well, and basically pointed out, like it was said that he rickrolled the media a few weeks earlier when he said he'd do an announcement, and basically played the media out because the mainstream media can be suckers, and then ended up basically admitting that he doesn't have a problem with the issue of birth anymore. Clinton, on the other hand, kept inferring it was despicable, and so did the black commentator. And I'm not even saying he's black because that was quite relevant. Get a black guy in there and go, ooh, that's so terrible. You questioned his heritage, where he came from, and whatever. And he hammered him a few times. The debate was not fair. Anyone with an ounce of intelligence saw that. Trump was repeatedly attacked by the commentator, and Hillary was given a free ride, especially, we'll talk about this in a minute when he brings up the tax return issue. Trump came out very clearly stating, I'll release my tax returns. I've been told not to under legal advice, which all Clinton's lackeys, because my lawyers have told me I'm pleading the fifth, I'm pleading the fifth, I'm pleading the fifth, I'm pleading the fifth, I'm pleading the fifth. I mean, it's got so repetitive, it was honestly embarrassing. If you've got nothing to hide, then what on earth are you worried about? But Clinton's people can follow the legal advice. Apparently, Trump can't follow his lawyer's advice to not release his tax returns. And we all know now that his tax returns have been leaked by the Los Angeles Times, the New York Times, or someone, major newspaper, have just gone into the area of let's break the law to help Hillary, and let's take one throw ourselves under the bus, because good old Hillary will make sure we get the kickbacks. It's going to be worth it. You can see this a lot with her. The only problem is, if you actually look at the issues at the moment in relation to the tax return, and if we just for a second go back to David's show, he'll show you here. Donald Trump's tax found he may not have paid taxes for 18 years. And what he's going to ignore completely is that Clinton's been found using exactly the same tax loophole. She apparently declared a loss of $800,000. Trump declared a loss of nearly $1 billion. That allows you under the American tax system to what they call carry these losses forward, so you don't have to keep paying taxes for money you've previously lost. It's perfectly legal. Clinton did it. Trump did it. But they're going to focus all on Trump because these people are completely biased, and they are desperate at the moment to get Hillary into the White House. So everything, everything's just going to keep everything be everything, as they say. It's just going to the gravy train's going to keep rolling. Everything's going to be normal. Whereas Trump is clearly going to shake up the establishment, and they're scared. They don't want him in power, and little shrills like this guy who, is either doing this simply for hits because he feels it's going to be popular, or he's actually getting paid by the Clinton campaign to do it. We don't know. But I'd ask David, you want to complain about Trump's tax returns and him saying that minimizing taxes is smart? Show us your tax return, mate, and let's see if you've paid more tax than you have to. I'm quite sure you're there deducting your microphones, you're probably even your fancy suit there. You're going to be doing everything you can to minimize your tax, because that's what smart people do. They also then give to charity if they want to be charitable, but you don't be charitable to the taxation department. That's an idiot's game. He'll claim differently, but let's see what he's going to say.
The questions about cybering, where he mentioned his 10-year-old kid is just so good with computers. If you're running for president and someone asks you about cyber warfare, my first instinct would not be to mention how your 10-year-old kid has computers at home, okay?
Well, start off with, we don't care about your first instinct or what you think. You are clearly a shrill, you're clearly biased. I don't know if you have a 10-year-old kid. I got one that's 7.5. He's very computer literate. I think what Trump's trying to say is exactly what I'd say. These kids are growing up learning computers. Now, by the way, I'm in IT, all right? I do know what I'm talking about when it comes to cyber and cyber attacks. I've worked in internet security. I'm well aware of the threats, and there's 2 points I'm going to make. One is that the new breed, young people are growing up learning code like it's a second language to them. They can fluently speak things like PHP, HTML, CSS, Pascal, Cobol, if they're so inclined, Ruby on Rails, they'll just learn these things, and they'll be fluent in them and act like, yeah, that's no problem. Us older folks like me, I'm an IT veteran. I've still got to keep up with the latest jQuery, the latest JavaScript updates, the latest Bootstrap, and all these things. I mean, it's a never-ending task, and these guys seem to just pick it up like so. I've worked with 16-year-old programmers who run rings around, veteran IT veterans. So what I think Trump's trying to say here is, listen, the young people know a lot more about this than the old crusties like us. And I think his inference is, I'm going to go to the people. I don't think he's inferring he'll go to his 10-year-old son. I think he's going to go to the IT experts, the people who know what they're talking about, who have a better idea than him and Hillary do. Now, I've never heard about Trump's use of computers, but what I certainly have heard about is that Clinton doesn't even use a computer, not once, not ever. She, in fact, is so draconian when it comes to technology, so fearful of it, that she uses a BlackBerry, try to use an iPad. I mean, gosh, anyone can use an iPad, but she can't. She was giving them away to her staff and colleagues. I just wonder, by the way, who paid for that. But anyway, let's move on from that. And even when BlackBerry would bring out a new edition, instead of having a rollerball or they went to a new trackpad, apparently she couldn't handle the upgrade. So they take her old one, smash it with a hammer, to make sure no one can get any data out of it, and then buy a new one on eBay. I mean, why she wasn't even conserving fund. I mean, this just tells you a little bit about that person. No matter what hardware I have, I will do a system wipe on it. I will ensure if I have to. She certainly has her buddies know how to use BleachBit, so she can certainly ensure that the device is overwritten enough times to make sure that it's secure. Why she wasn't putting that back on eBay, and for example, swapping out the latest model for an old model. I think she would have had hundreds of people going, yeah, I'll do that, Hillary, I'll take the new one. But according to this guy, and the modus operandi of Hillary's supporters is, smashing things with hammers and buying stuff off eBay because our boss just doesn't know about IT is all okay. But Donald here makes what I thought is a good point, just inferring, because he didn't get a lot of time. You got to remember, they're in a national debate. The heat's on them, the lights are on them. They're trying to remember, Hillary is trying to remember what she scripted. Donald was talking off the cuff. So he's sort of relating what I saw as a very clear anecdote. Young people know a lot more than people like me. I'm going to rely on the people who know. And, when it comes to cyber or cyber attacks, the guy clearly, like a lot of people, including Hillary, who, I haven't heard about Donald doing the email thing. Hillary has got to be, I think, is going down in history as one of the most malfeasant, reckless, dishonest people that ever had anything to do with IT in the history of IT. I mean, seriously, what that woman did, anyone on IT will tell you, is just so shocking that people go, you have to be joking me. She set up an off-the-shelf, insecure server at home while Secretary of the State had Obama emailing her on that server using a false name, had her daughter doing the same thing. This means all these people, the fact they were using false names shows you immediately intent. They were complicit. They knew she was doing something wrong. They wanted to hide their tracks. They were intending to break the law. Barry Obama, or Barry Soetoro, what do they call him? Don't have a lot of time with that guy simply because I watched all of his earlier speeches and saw he promised that these things would happen. None of them have come to pass. And he's one of the biggest people in the history of America in terms of spying on the American public, and is encouraged both Australia and the UK to do exactly the same. They've entered into joint programs to do exactly this. The guy, oversight, transparency, lies. Hillary Clinton was his Secretary of State, lies about Benghazi, lies about being under fire, lies about supporting a husband that nothing ever happened with him, lies about the women who was subject to Slick Willie's attacks. I mean, I was shocked because we don't have a president, there have been people like Tony Blair who have sullied the office of Prime Minister of England, and he is absolutely, he's vilified for doing that. He's a public hated figure by the average English person. And, the only thing is Slick Willie's got a good way. He's very slick. He's Teflon coated, like they used to call Tony Blair, Teflon Tony. These guys are practiced. They've studied other people's mistakes in the past. They ensure that they don't make them themselves. They get away with stuff all the time. And getting away with something is not the same as not having done it.
That's not what I would go towards. Mentioning that it's smart not to pay federal taxes, these are really, really disastrous. So Trump gets embarrassed at the debate really badly. People who have a clue recognize this. I know low information voters,
I have a clue.
People who personally just hate Hillary Clinton probably thought Trump did an okay job. But
well, I'm sorry. Don't you dare call me low information. All right. I would put racks up to you. I'm smarter than you. I'm probably better qualified in a lot of things you talk about than you, David. I don't know, how many degrees you have, what you've studied, what sort of scores and tests you get that sort of qualify you. I don't know what your personal history is, but what I see is a little slick blowhard here who is now basically doing the deplorables that Clinton did. He's putting down people, and Trump was not embarrassed and did not handle it badly. That's this blowhard's opinion, because he knows he's talking mainly to Hillary supporters here, and also probably talking to Trump supporters, and what he's hoping for are ratings, because what this guy does, he sells products on the back of his show. That's his agenda here. He's just a tool of establishment, and he honestly, he really does irritate me, actually. I don't normally get irritated by people, but this guy, if you watch my debunking of his Sandy Hook debunking, you'll see he wants to play pseudo-psychologist when he has no right to do that. I debunked him completely. You know, I had to spend an hour and a half debunking the shit out of this guy, to put it bluntly. I destroyed every point he made. I'm still waiting for him to come back on that one. Any time, by the way, you want to debate David, I'll tell you what, you'll see how Aussie Rick takes down David Pakman, but I bet you this guy is one of these, he's controlled, he's not going to do that, but, I'll let him talk some more. Oh, gosh.
He really, really did embarrass himself. Trump goes into damage control mode. Damage control mode is even more of a disaster than the debate performance. First, he barrels into the spin room, which normally the candidate doesn't show up at the spin room. Your surrogates show up and start spinning for you.
So he likes to spin. I don't like it where people spin. I think the fact that he barreled up, as he put it. I mean, everything this guy's saying is put down. But the fact that Trump had the guts to turn up, whereas Hillary shaked all the hands of the audience with Slick Willie, and then basically took back off and probably, immediately got some medevac, transport back to her home. I think that shows he got guts. What he's saying is he'd prefer to hear from spin doctors getting a load of spin and not hear from the candidate themselves in the spin room. I mean, I can't even believe they got a spin room. That shocks me. But I'd say Trump was a man. He stood up for himself like this guy probably never has in his life. I don't think he was embarrassed, or what he did was embarrassing at all. And I think, by the way, the opinion polls have been showing repeatedly that other than when you have the close-knit mainstream media who are pumping constantly the Clinton theme and attacking Trump, making him look crazy, reporting everything he says and ignoring every slip that Hillary has, you get the polls in your favor. Every other poll I've looked at and all the comments are so against Clinton and so for Trump. It's just crazy.
He claims his microphone was defective. I told you about that yesterday. No evidence whatsoever that the microphone was defective.
Actually, wrong. They've admitted the microphone was defective, but he's here already expressing his invaluable opinion, because we all need to hear from what David thinks and his take on stuff and his response. You know what? His response is nothing more than a shrill. And you'll also watch, he reads everything he's saying to you. I'm talking off the cuff.
Hillary Clinton said very astutely, anyone complaining about microphones was not having a good night. I couldn't agree more.
Except the fact that he didn't have a microphone working very well. Got a pretty bum rap from the adjudicator or the moderator, but he couldn't agree more. Yeah, well, you're wrong. David, how does it feel to be wrong? And I know right now, you're looking like you look contrite, but this wasn't a contrite move you're making. You just back to reading what's in front of you now, and how does it feel to be wrong?
And in the spin room, he contradicts many of the things he said during the debate. During the debate, he said he was smart not to pay federal taxes. In the spin room, he denied having said it altogether. About moderator Lester Holt. In the spin room, he said, I thought Lester Holt did a good job. 6 hours later, roughly 6 hours later, early the next morning on Fox and Friends, Trump changes the story altogether and says, Lester Holt gave me very unfair questions. I give him a C or a C+. I thought he was okay.
So here we go. He's jumping from one place to another, the spin room, then referring to what Trump said 6 hours later. He doesn't provide evidence at all of what was said in the spin room. I didn't watch what happened in the spin room. I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I don't believe him. If Trump did deny it, and Trump certainly changed his tune in relation to Lester Holt, the moderator or mediator, And I'm going to tell you, anyone who's entered into a debate in front of a load of people will tell you this. Because he's so focused on dealing with the issues of the debate, it's very hard often straight afterwards to remember exactly what was said and every single thing you said. And more importantly, he had the good grace, I gather, to say that Lester Holt did a good job. That's what people normally would do, is go, yeah, it's been a fair fight. But afterwards, when they look at the footage and realise what happened, they go, hey, hang on, I'm watching now here, and this happens a lot. It's not called taking a second bite of the cherry. It's called being given time to reflect on the situation and making a new judgment as to what happened when you have all the facts in front of you. But apparently, Hillary just did such a great job, and everyone's so happy. Trump lost. We don't know Trump lost, but he did lose, but he didn't, but we're not sure, but my opinion is this. Like, no one cares about your opinion, David. I mean, your ratings on your channel show that. I think you should give up right now. I know you're milking these videos and getting, earning your money off the advertising you do for it, but quite frankly,
change, and it is just damage control gone awry. And the most outlandish of Trump's claims about the debate was that he said there was no sniffle. This sniffling that distracted so many viewers, Trump denied it, period, no sniffle. Let's take a look and listen to the following video. You tell me if there was sniffling here. Yeah.
No. He's going to say yep, I'm going to say no. I'm going to call that breathing. I'm going to call that breathing through a defective microphone, a microphone that's turned up too loud, that should have been turned down when Hillary was talking. From what I can even gather, it was probably turned up because those sniffles were so much louder than his voice. Sorry, shouldn't have said that word, sniffle. The breathing through his nose. Now that's what everybody does. I breathe through my nose. It makes this sound, David. I don't take coke. I've never done coke. I don't take drugs. I don't snort stuff, and I'm not sniffling. Sniffling is where you go. All right, that's a sniffle, mate. This is breathing. Now, maybe David prefers mouth breathers who like. It puts the lotion on the skin. I don't know. But this is just another attack against Trump that is just so out of order from this little upstart, blowhard.
Yeah. Why even deny it? I have no idea. That went on and on and on. What's the big picture trend here? What is it that we can learn from this and apply it to how Donald Trump would be as president?
Well, we can learn that you are anti him. He didn't sniffle, he breathed. His microphone was defective. But now you're going to tell us what we can learn for this, because what, now you're a school teacher? You're a university lecturer? I mean, this guy, I don't know, he takes so many roles. And wait till you see what's he's going to defer to some bimbo in a second. Apparently, he's being interviewed or interviewing someone. He just didn't let us know that.
Number one, he has excuses for everything, right? The guy takes no accountability for his actions whatsoever. He will blame everything from the moderator to a faulty microphone.
Both of which were true. And David here apparently is the believer, the authority on all things. He can tell us what we can learn from this stuff. He can tell us how we have to interpret it. Because, David here, he's a school teacher now. He's a university lecturer. I don't know. What I see is just a friggin' blowhard who has no business making videos like this without declaring, I'm doing it because I'm so desperate to become a media reporter. Or, well, I apologise, I'm in Queensland and we have neighbours like this who love to do the woos. I say, good on ya, have fun. But David's not a school teacher. He's a university lecturer. He's no one to school us or teach us what to do. And I think he should just pull his head in, as they say in Australia.
And all sorts of made-up ideas about as to why his performance was what it was. But
his performance was great. That's what it was.
More importantly, Trump is completely unconcerned and unaffected by the truth. And I think Pat was spot on in the last segment when he said that in spite of the constant lies and lack of accountability and taking responsibility, Trump still polls better on honest and trustworthiness than does Hillary Clinton. And he is definitely taking advantage of that. And the saddest part about all of this is that Donald
Is that David can't be objective, and why on earth wouldn't a candidate take advantage of the fact they're polling well? You know, what he can't stand is that despite how much Clinton's crew want to sort of like try and dictate to everybody what they believe, what they should believe, how things are going and how well they're polling, and all the contributor people, the media who contribute to her campaign are all trying to spin the polls. It's not working, and they can't understand it. And you're looking, he's confused. Why is that not working? You know why? Simply this: we're fed up with politicians like Clinton. We've had enough. Done. End of story. It's over, mate. You don't get it. And I hope you go to your safe space when Clinton loses. I hope you're like one of these, little celebrities that believe that they can tell us, well, I'm going to go do this, like Barbara Streisand. Who cares what she thinks? And if you want to leave the country, apparently she threatened it a few times before. She sort of said, if Bush gets in, I'm going to leave. Everyone's like, there's the door, Babs, leave whenever you're ready. We don't want you here. She hung around. Now she's on Hillary's thing. We got Bruce Springsteen. What is it? Bono. I mean, these celebrities should just, put it frankly, should bugger off. We're not interested. Go sing your song, do your tap dance, and then, collect your check and go home. You're not intellectuals. You don't want to lecture us. You should just sod the frig off. We had all of this with the Brexit in England. Oh, by the way, I hate that word. It was the exit from the EU. I don't even know how you could pronounce the EU exit other than EU exit. And we had the president, Barry, rock on over and tell us that we're going to be back in the line. Well, we see how that's working out right now. England had a load of celebrities. Geldof, Paul McCartney. I mean, they were brought out like trained little monkeys, or trained seals. Sorry, like all about the Remain campaign. They got their asses handed to them on a plate, and not one of them has decided that's it. I'm buggering off. They're all still sitting around enjoying good old England because they were nothing more than media manufacture. And the good old David Cameron, the biggest turncoat that you've ever seen, promising a referendum again and again and again. Finally got forced to give one. The moment it doesn't go his way, he spent millions of taxpayers' money sending out letters directly to every household in the UK just to let them know what the government thought. Like, we didn't know. It was on every newspaper, every TV channel. Good old Dave, he used to call it Call Me Dave, hug a hoodie. He actually thought that the way to deal with the problem with street violence was for people to go and hug people wearing hoodies. The people causing crime on the streets. He was mocked for that, and they called him Call Me Dave because even though he's David Cameron, he's from an incredibly privileged past. He's another. Talk about Trump being a tax evader. Oh, come on. Look at his family history. Wouldn't answer the questions in Parliament. His dad was a massive tax evader in the Canary Islands or whatever. Dave profited from that personally. I mean, these guys are all part of one system. And by the way, I'm not going to start being Alex Jones. I don't even like that guy at all. Find a lot of the stuff he does a bit bizarre, and he seems to be quite duplicitous. Some people call him an agent for, like a covert agent, disinformation artist. I don't know. Just not really impressed with him in general. So don't start thinking I'm going to start, ranting and raving about this. But what I will tell you is, all of these elite people seem to be locked into doing the same patterns of behavior, and they're very easy to spot. And let's get back to David Pakman here, who by the way, I'm going to keep saying this. I think he should be the only thing he should be doing on YouTube is playing Pac-Man. That's pretty much it. He should be paying like Pakman and like posting those videos up on YouTube and probably getting some hits if he's good enough. But I think he'd probably get eaten by the ghosts within about a minute of playing, and he would get the Pac-Man low score of the year. Like I think his TV channel, his show channel, whatever, is getting.
Donald Trump should never even have made it this far to the point where we have to do this type of analysis. That's really what I can't get past, Reed.
Well, I can't get past the fact that no, you don't have to do this. You make up the fact that people are bombarding with emails, like you do this repeatedly. Oh, I'm being forced to do this because all my listeners or the people watching my show are forcing me to come and give my opinion, and we shouldn't even be giving the opinion because you know what, it's not worthy of our time. He tried that with the Sandy Hook one. We shouldn't even be responding to this, but you know what, I'm going to do it anyway because I want to ride on the coattails of anything. I want to piggyback anything I think will get me hits. Because if I get hits, I make a bit more money, and then maybe I can take another trip to Italy and post all the photos up on Pinterest or whatever the hell it was, Instagram, I don't know. He's a little blowhard, he's a show-off, he's a meme, and that's not a mem, he's a me. Like, look at me, I'm David Pakman, I've got my show, I've got my own logo, I'm so cool. But watch, he's going to start advertising some crappy glasses a little bit later that he doesn't even wear himself. But, and by the way, watch him right now, he's doing what's called the globe. He's bringing all the facts together with his fingers. I'll talk to you about this in another show, another commentary. But just look at this one. He's doing physical reinforcement of verbal suggestions. It's a really, honestly, trite technique by presenters.
Which is, if the world made sense, and it really doesn't, someone like Donald Trump would never be on this debate stage in the first place, and these ridiculous analyses of dozens of lies that the guy told, we wouldn't have to do them because he has no place on that stage to begin with.
The only thing he said there that was truthful was these ridiculous analyses. Yep, this is a ridiculous analysis, mate. You had a Freudian slip there, mate, and if you'd studied psychology, you'd understand exactly what that meant. You just leaked psychologically. You just told the truth because you're not scripted and you're not reading that part of it. But yeah, this analysis is ridiculous, but you're doing it because Donald Trump is a candidate. You are trying to just say, I can't stand this guy so much. He should never be in front of an audience. Get him away from me. Let me run to my safe space, because if someone dissents with me this much, they should not have a platform. Like every modern university is heading towards that way of, you can't give dissent, you can't present, you can't have freedom of speech, you can't present an opinion that is so dissenting to mine that I can't digest it, and I've got to now attack you personally, and I want you removed from the university, and I want to run to my safe space, and I want to have chats with all the people that are like-minded with me so we can all agree together and have a consensus, because then we feel safe, like the sheep being herded.
Right, but there's no evidence that the lying is going to stop, because in his first speech post-debates, he opened in Florida by telling a lie, saying that, I'm actually polling better in terms of who people thought won in this debate. It's me. Granted, he did have his trusty teleprompter here, and also his default would just be to redirect blame back to the media.
All right, we don't even know who this bimbo is. Apparently she's been sitting there all along. She's got the same thing, so I think it's point counterpoint they're trying to do. Who the hell's this bimbo? Maybe it's his girlfriend. Maybe it's his half-sister. I don't know. What I do know is she's not on Trump's side. She's not providing a point counterpoint, as in the counterpoint. She's basically just on tune with what David's saying. So he's got a patsy here, a little bimbo who's going to parrot whatever he says. Wah, wah, wah. And what we're talking about is, how much will Trump keep lying? We already know he's lying, but he's going to keep lying some more. Unlike Hillary. Hillary under fire? Hillary supporting her husband when he clearly, did have sexual relations with that woman. She didn't leave him after that because she knew he was the pathway to her career. She's an enabler, and they're not even going to talk for a second about that. And this woman, one, tell you straight away, she doesn't believe what she's saying. She's a show pony. She's got her hair all pushed forward over her jacket. Most women like to wear their hair behind, unless they want to show off the fact that they've got, I've got my really nice hair. I've got the hair going on. She's got the same mic as David. She's got the same crappy photo in the background as David. And all she's doing is she's a sycophant agreeing with David that no matter what David says, she's just basically presenting a counterpoint that setting David up to go, yep. We hounded there together.
Yeah, well, I'm guessing he was referring to that very, very scientifically done drudgereport.com Insta poll that showed him winning something like 5-1. Here, the funny thing about some of these polls people are pointing to is, even if you think Trump did really well, the country is not going to think by an 80-20 margin that Trump won. In the best of cases, if Trump really does well, because we know how polarized our country is in terms of politics, Trump might have a 60-40 edge if he had like the best possible performance against Hillary Clinton. The fact that anybody won 80-20 to me are numbers that I would definitely question. But
who cares? Who cares what this guy thinks? Trump Report is well known for breaking news being highly criticized by the establishment and then being proved right. That's why it's been so popular. Sure, on MSN media, mainstream media, you don't get those sort of polling, but even when you did, Hillary, I gather at the start, was like 68%. She was nearly 70%. He wasn't there going, oh, geez, I can't believe that's happening. I just don't believe it. It's not real. Whoa. Now, I went to what is it, Drudge. It was a simple thing. Who do you vote for? That's pretty much as scientific as he had. They weren't geolocating people. They weren't going to a particular band of voters that they knew would vote a particular way. And even when the mainstream media were doing that, they were only getting 68, less than 70% in Hillary's favor. And Trump has now even caught up. And there's a video right now. I'll maybe try and see if we can find that before the end of the video, because David's about to basically, he used his bimbo up. I call her a bimbo because she's just a tool, who just got used by David here to reinforce a point. We didn't even know who she was. She's never explained, who was that girl? What legitimate did she have to be talking? Who is she to David? Is that your girlfriend, David? Is that your, as I said, your sister-in-law, your girlfriend's sister? Friend of your mum's? I don't know. What, do you pick her at random off the street and say, hey, come in here and, I'll pay you $50 and, you can do me a favor, like Slick Willie? I don't know. That was a bit of a low blow, but I'm going to move on. All I'm going to say is that, look, this is a hatchet job, plain and simple. He's presented nothing of substance. And I think, once again, I've performed what we call in Australia a bit of a takedown. And that was my intention. We're going to let him carry on for a second, then he's going to switch to an ad.
To put a finer point on what you said, Rachel, not only is there no evidence that Donald Trump is going to stop the lying anytime soon, we have every reason to believe that the lying and excuses and lack of taking responsibility would only continue if Donald Trump was president of the United States. So the damage control,
Right, unlike Hillary, who's lied for how many years? 20, 30 years? It's gone on, I don't know, maybe even more? And yet you're saying with no reason to believe, and in fact with every reason to believe. He puts words into people's mouths. He's just, I've never met such an empty-headed, lack of substance, blowhard as this guy.
How they say the cover-up is often worse than the thing itself? The damage control for Trump has been even worse than the debate itself.
It's actually more like the people who come out in support of Hillary, worse than Hillary's performance that night, which I thought, I'll be honest, I thought was pretty good. Other than that really trite scripted entry, I'm a grandma and I care about jobs.
Disagree, I'm on Twitter at @Pakman. You can let me know. Warby Parker is offering a free 5-day home try-on to give you the opportunity to check out their glasses. I personally wear Warby Parker glasses when I'm not wearing my contact lenses, and I also started with one of these free at-home try-ons of 5 pairs of glasses. You can get your free home try-on and...
Alright, well, the two things we're going to notice from here are simply this. One, I've had enough of this guy, so we're finishing it, because the rest of the clip, like a whole sixth of the clip left, is you can watch here. Boom, boom, boom. I'm talking about these Warby Parker glasses. They're so friggin' good. I wear them at home. I don't wear them for you, because I know I look like a friggin' nerd. And that's why I'm cross-eyed, but I'm reading a script anyway, because basically I've got Warby Parker trial to probably give me some free glasses because I'm cross-eyed, and pump me a whole lot of money so I can keep buying these slick suits, uniforms, and slick suits, microphones, and all the IT gear I need to run my show, because essentially this is what that's about. And what you're going to notice down in the side, over the right-hand side, attack against Trump, attack against Trump, attack against Trump, attack against Trump. Rush Limbaugh mocks David Pakman on his show. Wow. These, by the way, these are all from YouTube. So Rush Limbaugh, Limbaugh or whatever his name, he's the one that Trump brought up. I'm glad we got to this. That basically said, no, I did not state that I was in support of the war. And here we go. He's mocking David Pakman. And he's got 47,000 views. This one, unfortunately, has got 64,000 views. This has been really popular. I think, by the way, about 20 to 30 of these have been mine while prepping for this. But we see why David's doing it. And I'm just going to say to you, the guy is a tool. And I'm going to leave you that. The guy's a tool. I'm Aussie Rick. This is Aussie Rick out, and I'm just going to say to you, I hope you guys are smart enough to sort of get what's happening here in terms of the people who are here supporting Hillary without giving anything back in return in terms of being, biased. And let's just touch quickly. Guy came forward saying that he's Slick Willie's, Bill Clinton's illegitimate son. Hillary today has apparently wants to take out Julian Assange with a drone strike, because he's apparently like just a nobody, and we should have taken him out already. Apparently that caused Julian to not do his usual, have a chat on the balcony where he's held up in London. And she says she's responsible enough to be, holding nuclear codes. Like, really? You just want to take it to some guy who's about to do a massive dump of data all on you? And we can wait for that. Apparently it's going to happen tomorrow. But yeah, I don't know. And I don't see a thing on David's side here where, other than attacking Trump, anonymous, he's attacking everybody. And by the way, they're not attacking Hillary. They're not balanced. He doesn't do balanced reporting. And half the crap that's on his website, it goes on and on and on. It's just, it's like fodder for idiots. And I'm just going to leave you with this. Look at this guy. He's sneering. He's got an evil look in his eye, and he's grimacing and sneering at you as if like, oh. But don't worry, he's David Pakman. He's got it all worked out. I'm just Aussie Rick, and out